So my friend got back from his business trip. He's over there, no longer trying to give me the slip. Give me the slip.
Hi everyone, it's me. It's me again.
Yeah, I have no idea why I went for the musical intro, but it's me, totally not named Dan, and my buddy here, Jotakumon. But he's not the only buddy I've got today, because, well, this time, my Digimon partner isn't totally not named Greymon. It's the real deal.
Okay, which one is that?
This is the promo Greymon,
Oh, I see.
who is the key card of one of my latest decks. And if we go on over to Tabletop Simulator, we can have a look at what is in this golden egg here. Open it up and see exactly what we're dealing with. So this deck is what's known as Oops All Greymon. It has been highly successful for me lately, specifically while you've not been here. So it's not gone up against your Commandramon yet, but I did have a lot of fun with it in the first 2 weeks of EX1's release.
Interesting.
So my version of the deck doesn't have any EX1 in it, but I came first the first week and second the second week, losing only to one other deck, which was Oops All Greymon, but with EX1 in it. Before we actually look at the cards, I should probably mention, this deck isn't my original creation. This was made by somebody named Owen, who is the Digimon playing friend of Its Bulbae, whose video on this I will link in the description, because, you know, I feel like I should credit people properly.
Did he come up with their name, or...?
Yeah, he came up with the name. Based on a classic American serial, I believe.
I see. I have no idea, never heard about this deck ever, so I'm actually quite intrigued. You said, I think, off cam that it works well against Gabubond?
I'm not sure I said that off cam. I think that might have been on stream that I mentioned it.
I see.
But yeah, this is incredibly good against some of the meta decks, such as Gabubond and Jesmon.
Oh, Jesmon too.
Yeah, it rushes down faster than Jesmon can get their entire combo out, so quite often they will go in against you without a delicate plan, and then they just die to security over and over.
Oh, okay. Can I take a guess? Is the strategy going to... we're not going to go beyond Greymon here. We're just going until Greymon, maybe like one ultimate or something, and we're just going to rush with champions in. Is that...
Yeah, this is a champion rush deck, primarily.
Okay.
So our champions are... This one comes off security, and just deletes a low DP Digimon from the opponent. So it's a nice 2-for-1, really.
Yeah,
I mean, in fact, you can win the security battle, then play this, then delete another one. So against Rookie Rush, this is quite a nice card, this Geo Greymon.
Yeah.
And it's got Greymon in the name, which is kind of important for reasons we'll look at in a couple seconds, I reckon.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder why.
Then we have this one, which just essentially Digivolves for 1, so it's a cheap Greymon. That's all this does. That inherited effect is completely irrelevant for reasons that you've already mentioned. And then we have this one. This is the key card of the deck, the card that really makes the deck work. Unfortunately, as you can see, I only had 3 copies of this one at the time I built the deck. This is my in-person deck that I've been testing with. And I figured I should show off the version that I won with, rather than a fully optimized version that might not work quite the same.
Oh, it's a promo card too, I see.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly expensive promo card. I mean, I managed to get it for like £8 in the end, but it was hard to find one less than 15, and most places didn't even have it.
Okay.
So this is, while it has Agumon in its Digivolution cards, it gains security attack +1. Pretty nice and simple, pretty terrible on its own, because a 5k with +1 security attack is just going to die, probably before it even gets that second hit, but we have ways to make it significantly better in this deck. Then, I believe this next one is the one champion in the deck that isn't a Greymon. This is a Gunimon. And if you don't know why I'm running a Gunimon, you haven't been following the meta lately, I suspect. Because this just comes down out of nowhere, basically, on top of a Tamer, and just hits for that extra damage, that lethal final hit.
Yeah, pretty much all the Gabubons and Agumons play this one.
Yep.
I actually think of playing the black version as well once BG7 comes out.
Now, I talked in a previous video that I'll link down below about how Vitramon was my favorite of these guys, because it does so much more and it hits that nice 3 memory, but we have so many memory gains in this deck that going up to 4 is quite common, and so the difference between a 4 cost for 2 of these and a 6 cost for 2 of these is huge. So that's why we run a Gunimon over Vitramon, even though Vitramon attacks for 9k.
Might be worth having one if you really need to delete something with low DP. Same goes for the blue version, but yeah.
Well, the thing with this is that it's such a rush that the only times you need to delete things are with security. So with our Geo Greymon and a bunch of options that you'll see later, we don't really need the Vitramon power. And then to go with all of this, we have Coromon. Nice simple egg. So this version is the when attacking once per turn, if it has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, you draw one. So this just basically says when you attack into security with one of your Greymon, and your Greymon most likely dies, you get a replacement card.
I just realized how kind of unfair this drawing power is compared to black, you know?
Yes, black has such limited drawing power compared to every other color.
And this is like, hey, if the most common champion attacks...
Yeah, I mean, that's why this deck works. It's because that replenishes the rush, and that card draw is very much what rush decks need. So this is one of the other cards that makes this deck work. This is the promo Agumon. Your turn, while this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gets plus 2000 DP. So suddenly our 5k double security attack is now a 7k, and so has a very good shot at getting that second hit, maybe even surviving. Because it means that it hits over any champions in security, at the very least.
It's again pretty good. Oh, it's again the promo card.
Yeah. And you'll see I only have 3 copies of this one. This one I actually own 5 copies of, because somebody screwed up a trade. But I figured 3 copies, probably actually better to run, because the thing is, and this is a thing that wasn't noted in the Its Bulbae video, this card's actually better. This is when this Digimon attacks a player, it gets plus 2000 DP for the turn. The difference here is that you can't attack a Digimon with it, but if they block, you still declare the attack against the player, so you still get the effect. And then it also works with a Goonimon in the rare situation where you have to put a Goonimon on top of your rookie.
And it's not as rare.
Yeah,
it's a common.
And it's a lot cheaper. You get it in the starter deck.
Yeah, I assume the starter deck alone costs less than the promo Agumon at this point.
Nowadays, I don't think it does, but originally, yes.
Okay, I see. This one is just generally your turn. It just has plus 2k, and this one is when attacking. So there might be another difference if you happen to check something in security, which destroys something.
Before you attack with this Digimon, yeah.
Before you attack, yeah. I mean, there might be some cases where that makes a difference, but I wouldn't really build around a deck around that difference. Yeah, it's probably more reasonable to have this one.
And we're running both of them because it's basically 7 copies of the same effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Owen's original build had a lot more focus on the ability to search up Greymon, but personally I feel having the Greymon survive is more optimal. Then we have this Agumon. This is the Tri-Agumon.
I'll have to correct you. This is not the Tri-Agumon. This is the Kizuna Agumon.
Sorry, my bad. It is the Kizuna Agumon. So the inherited effect is if it turns into Bond of Courage, it gets +1 security attack, which is neat, but not the biggest deal in the world. However, the main effect is all turns, once per turn, when you play a tie, you gain a memory. And that is far more useful.
And it's all turns, also important.
Yeah, so if you hit it off security, you get it there as well. And then we run 2 copies of this Agumon, which is just the on play, reveal 3 cards from top of your deck, add a Digimon with Greymon in its name, or Omnimon in its name to your hand. We don't run any Omnimon, but the fact that you can pick a Greymon means that basically it's just a free draw card. I went down to 2 copies on it because, well, basically it's a 3 cost to get that draw effect. So most of the time, the other Agumon are better for you, because these 2 help your champion survive, and this one gains you memory. This one is literally just a 3 cost draw a card. Sure, it's fine. It's basically the Gabumon, but it's a lot of memory, and once it's in play, it doesn't do anything.
It's almost a Gabumon. This reminds me of Drakomon, which I replaced with Gabumon, because it might be that you don't get to draw a card if the top 3 cards are Greymon, which can be annoying, I guess, but...
It's sort of like how your Pagumon is a worse Koromon.
Yeah.
I have the better Koromon, but the worse Gabumon.
Yeah, definitely. And you only run 2 of them, so that won't really be a problem.
I also run 2 of the other Searcher, which is 5 cards and finds a Tamer, which personally I think is slightly better, but could go either way on them. Regardless, it's not often that I need that search power. Yeah, so then we have Nokia. I mean, you know what Nokia does.
Yep.
Nokia just cheapens my Digivolutions so I can get this Greymon for free, or if I get both of them, I can get any of the Greymon for free. And also lets me hard play an Agumon of any sort for free. Which, because I'm not running the 5 cost promo Agumon, doesn't actually save me any memory, but it doesn't cost me any memory either.
And if you're lucky enough, you might actually check Nokia as well from your security, and then you get to play an Agumon on your opponent's turn.
Not that matters particularly because I don't have the black Agumon in here, but even so, it's kind of nice to have. Then our next tamer, a little bit more important, we have 3 Marcus Daemon.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah, Marcus fixes our memory to 3, which is really useful in this deck. In fact, first turn Marcus is probably one of the best plays we can make.
First turn?
Yeah, so this is a rush deck that actually wants to go second.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, fixes your memory, and when one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name attacks, you get a memory by suspending this. It's simple, it does its job. It doesn't work perfectly with a Goonimon because you do have to suspend it for the effect, but it's still nice.
I was wondering, would a blue version of this deck with Garurumon and Gabumon work? But I feel like the fact that blue doesn't have this Marcus Daemon, which gains your memory when you suspend a Greymon, is kind of...
Well, I also think they don't have the plus security attack Greymon.
They don't have the plus security, that's true. They have the draw one, which I guess helps.
Yeah,
helps with drawing power, but it's not the same as the security plus one.
Yeah, but it's that ability to go +1 on security and really take their health away quickly that makes this work. Then we have 4 copies of Tai Kamiya. Now, the original list was running 3 Tai and 4 Bond, but the thing is, if you draw 2 Bond, the second Bond is a dead card. Whereas if you draw 2 Tai, that's just more gain for you. This guy, his effect can only go off every other turn, which is pretty darn annoying, but it lets you draw an extra card and gain a memory whenever you bring an Agumon or Greymon out of the raising area.
There is a way to make this kind of work every turn. I just don't think it works in your deck because you're not playing any level 5s or above.
Oh, you mean level 5 greens that let you do Mimi things?
No, the EX1 White Tamer Analog Youth.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned at the start, we're not running any EX1 cards in this. This has been tested against EX1 decks and still comes out on top. But there are cards that make this deck a lot better. One of which is Analog Youth. Analog Youth basically goes in to replace Nokia once EX1 gets mixed into it.
Okay. So you lose on the lower the evolution cost. And, you gain memory every time level 5 I is destroyed. But more importantly, you can hatch a Digi-Egg, which probably helps you with the rush.
Yeah, but that level 5 or higher thing will actually matter in the X1 version for reasons I'll explain in a moment. But then we have, I believe we're out of Tamers, so what have we got here? Yes, this is the Bond that I'm running 3 copies of. Bond is just a finisher that you randomly draw sometimes. If you don't draw it, it's cool. The deck works just fine without it. It is not a key card to this deck. It is just an extra little thing you can do to have a huge beat stick out of nowhere.
Bond's pretty cool. Usually not as good as Galvan, but I feel like in this deck, could actually work well. Usually people play this the other way around. They make a Bond deck and then they add a few of these Greymons in there, but you seem to do the other way around.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
You don't want to build around this Bond because it is the worst of the 2 Bonds, but the rest of the Oops All Greymon deck is significantly better than anything Gabumon or Its Bond really have going on in terms of non-Bond stuff, I guess. Gabumon is still arguably the better deck, but this deck definitely beats Gabumon.
I'm realizing that warp decks, I'm just going to call them warp decks, they're becoming more and more popular. Just decks where you just play rookies, maybe a few champions, and you just go straight into level 6, level 7 out of nowhere to finish the game.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of decks that don't do that. I've seen a lot of decks that try and go all the way to level 6 and have the warp mega, but I mean, at that point, you've got so many cards that are potentially not useful when you can just go straight to the big thing.
Yeah.
I've been playing warp cards since BT4 when I started playing Dandevimon, because the ability to go straight from Impmon to Beelzemon is crazy good.
Yeah, true. I've also been playing since BT4, the D-Brigade deck. Now Gabumon is also the meta, also warp deck.
Yeah.
I assume you could call the hybrids that are appearing in BT7 also kind of a warp deck from Tamer to level 6 or level 7.
Little bit, yeah. But the final 2 cards we're running are Gaia Force. Obviously, we're playing red. Why would you not run Gaia Force? Just comes off security and deletes a thing. Real good unless your opponent has Delicate Plan, and we've already talked about how this rushes so fast they usually don't have it. And then Atomic Blaster is the hits little things version. So if Jesmon swings into you and you don't hit the Gaia Force, and you hit the Atomic Blaster instead, you just delete a whole bunch of their system on. So either one will shut down Jesmon when they swing into you.
That would be exactly 2, right?
I mean, it depends how many buffs they have on board, but usually it's 1 big one, 1 small one, yeah. And just the fact that this wipes out all the small things, this wipes out huge things, and then Agumon Bond of Bravery trades insecurity with whatever, or you potentially get memory back with Tai if you've got the Agumon out. You've got so many little things you can hit off security that will just completely mess your opponent up. And that's why this shuts down Gabumon.
Have you played against Gabumon so far?
Gabumon was one of the first week I played against Gabumon, and Gabumon just kept throwing down Ice Wall and Ice Wall and Ice Wall, and I just went, nope, every single time, and just sort of slowly wore them down, and if they got Gabumon out, it would swing into me, and it would die to security, and I'd swing back with my own Bond. If they didn't get Gabumon, I'd just slowly wear them down till they were out of Ice Walls, and then annihilate them with Greymon. And in a 2 out of 3 game, I did lose one of the 3 games, but I also had former European champion Dan Blount looking over my shoulder and going, well, you shouldn't have played that, you shouldn't have played that, you shouldn't have played that, you could have won this the entire time. So I have it on good authority that this really shouldn't have lost a game to Gabubond ever.
Yeah, this seems like a really good deck.
It really is. But it gets even better with EX1.
Oh, okay. There's one option card just like out of my head that I can feel like that could work and give you like an even extra edge against something that tries to rush you.
Go on.
I think it's called Lightning Joust. It's a 1 cost. You gain plus 2k. And if you have less security, you gain +1 security attack, which in cases where the opponent rushes you first or where you have to pay your security for Agubond, that could be helpful.
Yeah, that feels like that's doubling down on the Agubond strategy, which is not what I want to do.
Fair enough.
Because most of the time I am rushing faster than my opponent, and so that's not going to work for me.
Okay.
It's a good card, and there are definitely decks that run it, but I don't think this is the deck for it.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's Gabubond which runs it really well.
Yeah, I can see how Gabubond could run that if they have some red to be able to play it.
Yeah.
And I can see how Agumon would definitely run that. The next thing we get from EX1 is this Agumon, which I didn't think was very good when I looked at it because it's only when attacking inheritable. But basically, this is the effect of both versions of our Search Agumon in one once we get to Greymon stage. And we don't have to pay the 3 cost of it because we can Digivolve into this from an egg.
Yeah. It's almost the same effect. Your BT5 Agumon searches Greymon, and this one searches your Agumon. But with so many Agumon, you kind of also want to search them as well, not just your Greymon.
Yeah, I mean, either one's fine.
Yeah. Gets you a draw, usually, unless you're unlucky.
Yeah, it's incredibly good for the deck. Definitely replaces both the searches we have here.
Yeah, it definitely works better than the Gabumon version in Gabubond, because you are going to evolve more often into champion, it seems.
Yeah.
So you actually get to play your inheritable effect. I've seen people play the Gabumon version of it in Gabubond, but they never really evolve into champion, so it doesn't really do anything.
No, they just evolve straight into the level 7, and in doing so, they've already either got the win or they don't. Finding that card's not going to help them.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we have the final thing that gets added to the deck is Skull Greymon. And this is a weird choice because it's going to level 5. And I've tried going to level 5 in so many different ways prior to EX1, and it just never worked out. Because it's a 3 cost to go to level 5, and it's taking another card from your deck, basically, that could be another Agumon. And it's not doing any more damage, usually. Or if it is, you're paying for it. In this case, though, it's a bit of a weird one. Because this Digivolves on top of a Greymon. It doesn't want to Digivolve on top of this Greymon, because this Greymon has plus security attack, but either of the other two are good. It's an 8k, so it's going to survive better than anything else in the deck. I mean, with these two, Agumon, it can go up to 10k, potentially.
And with this Greymon, it could even go up to 12k.
Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, so it could be hitting over Mega's insecurity.
Yeah.
And yeah, security attack +1, so it's going to be getting 2 hits, and it's probably actually going to be surviving those 2 hits. But at the end of attack, you delete this Digimon, which may seem bad until you see their on-deletion effect, where you get to play an Agumon from your trash for free. So you get to recycle whatever your best Agumon is, or get your on-play effects if you want. And you trigger your Analog Boy to do that when deleted, gain a memory, hatch a Digi-Egg effect. And yeah, basically, you've just paid 3 to get another Agumon out. The fact that this gets deleted is irrelevant because you're a rush deck, you expect your stuff to get deleted anyway. And the fact that it's high DP to force through that security attack is huge.
Yeah, and it's a 3 cost, but with your Analog Youth, it turns out to be a 2 cost, right? Because you gain back that memory. And then you can hatch an egg, which makes it even quicker, of course.
Yeah, with the Youth, with the Nokia, either way works. And it's also not really a 3 cost, is the thing. Because every single one of these Agumon is a 3 cost. So you're not actually paying for this, you're paying for the Agumon you get.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So it's basically just free.
The only thing that can be a bit annoying, I guess, is that you have to play your Agumon suspended.
Right, yes. That's slightly annoying, but...
But it does mean that your opponent either has to make a choice between attacking your Agumon or your security if you, It's still a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, anytime they're not attacking you is still a good time.
And you get any on-play effects. So...
Which could be just finding you more Agumon.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you need to search that one tie to go into Agumon after all. Maybe you just want another Greymon.
There are no bad options with this Skull Greymon.
Almost makes the 5 cost something to consider again. Almost. Yeah, it's a bit high cost, but...
But the thing is, Geo Greymon does everything the 5 cost does, but better.
That's true, yeah. Just for 1 cost more, you get an actual champion.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for this deck. We've explained everything that goes into it. We've explained why I've made my changes. We've explained what will go into it coming X1. You definitely want to up the number of the promo Greymon, and I will be doing that tonight. But for now, 3 works fine. And yeah, we've explained how this wins against what it wins against, which is most of the meta, it seems.
I even see this possibly winning against D-Brigade. You say you haven't tried it, but it would be at least an even matchup. At least. The reason I'm saying I think this wins against D-Brigade is because I've played against Agubond, and my biggest problem with Agubond is not Agubond, it's the Greymons. I'm actually quite happy when they get to play their Agubond, because that means that they destroy their security and then I just rush in. So this is just inverting it, so you get all the good stuff, all the Greymon stuff that actually does a lot of damage really quickly.
Yeah. So your experience with Agubond is my experience with Gabubond. I'm just sitting there waiting, going, come on, Bond, please Bond, so I can backswing you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I think this would probably be the D-Brigade. Of course, unless you break or something, there's always luck involved. There's always what do you check in security, all that stuff. But this seems like a really good deck.
It is. And yeah, I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for joining me, Jota.